we're usually taking chemicals and behaviours basically to change the way we feel, to try and improve how we feel. Addiction is a difficult word, and again, it's a very misunderstood word, but it's a word that we've applied mostly to problematic drug use or problematic behaviours. One of the ways that we sort of identify or use to help people identify whether they're an addict or not is to say that if you're an adult that's lost the ability to adjust and control your emotional state without the use of anything, then there's a good chance whatever it is you're using to adjust and control your emotional state, you'll probably become dependent on that, and that's what causes the addiction, that you depend on whatever it is you're taking or doing to adjust your emotional state. And we sort of found, and again, I think, science probably back it up, that if you can't control your emotions on the inside through thoughts, then you're probably going to use something outside, which includes drugs that you put inside or behaviours. But ultimately, you're attempting to change the way that you feel or manage the way that you feel, get relief from the way that you feel. So that can be anything. That could be anything from banging heroin into your veins to playing golf. And again, it's if you're addicted to something like golf or even work, it doesn't seem as bad as heroin, but if you've got a family and you're spending more time playing golf than you are spending with your children and putting energy into their lives and their hobbies and their interests, they're going to grow up dysfunctional. And at some point in your life, they're going to say, you love golf more than me. And so that's the funny thing about addiction, is that people think that you love whatever it is you're addicted to more than children. And children often say that when you work in a rehab, that, if you put a bottle of vodka or even a golf bag in the middle of the room and said to the child, which does your mum or dad love the most? If they're addict, the child will say they love the vodka or they love the golf more than me. Certain sociable addictions cause the harms often seem invisible until people get older. People often say, oh, I'm not harming my children. I'm like, let's speak to them about that. Because again, I think when people are actually addicted to anything, it's because they've got an emotional problem. And I think that emotional problem is probably having more of an effect on your life. Even if you're like, you Gabor Mates and guys like that, as far as I know about them, that they often say that, an absent father is one of the consistent patterns in people with addiction problems. An absent father doesn't have to be a father that's sort of left when you were born and you never see him again. It can mean emotionally absent because, your nervous system and your emotions and your emotional interactions and your interpersonal development depends very much on the people that you're engaging in that with. The environment is such an important part of human development, which is why it's called environmental. I think enviro, means sort of closed in or a group of, and then mental obviously means your mind. So having a good environment is important for mental health. And so if you're in an environment where there's something missing, i.e. emotional interaction with parents, then you're going to grow up stunted. You're going to grow up without the ability to have emotions, and the emotions that you never developed are usually uncomfortable to develop as an adult, and so what I call recovery really is when people start redeveloping them emotions, not just stop drinking and taking drugs. I think that's the least of it. I think your problems really begin when you stop self-medicating, because now you're underdeveloped emotionally, mentally, and it's going to take some time to cross that bridge. And again, that fluctuates from different people. You know, some people grew up in pretty decent families, and so some people, like, you know, it's even people that work, the people that have kept a job, they seem to do a lot better in recovery than them that have never worked, that have sort of been supported or dependent on somebody else for their well-being. So again, the thing I love about addiction is it covers every aspect of human evolvement, because I think again, we're all addicted to something, and I think all of us have behaviours that we can't stop. I believe all of us have thoughts that are a bit pervasive. We don't even know it a lot of the time because we're so accustomed to it. Unless it becomes a problem, most people are happy to just carry on with it. And I think that's probably where the line gets drawn, isn't it? That when whatever you're doing, you can be addicted to golf or heroin. I mean, you know, I'm sure most of the theories, it seems, of our society is starting to head down the road of, you know, if you want to do heroin, that's fine. But let's help you do it safely. Let's help you do it successfully. That you can do whatever drugs you like, but let's help you manage the negative effects of it. And, you know, there's some truth to that. I mean, a lot of people drink. Again, you go from the person that may have half a glass of wine at Christmas to the person that just can't stop pouring it down their throat, and everyone in between. And you can be an alcoholic, but if the people around you are willing to accept that and not be bothered by it, then you could drink yourself to death, like many do. I mean, it's shocking how many people actually die of liver disease in this country. Direct result of alcohol use. But most of them have never had to go to treatment, never had to go to the doctors, never had to do anything really, and except develop liver disease. So it's kind of, to give a straight answer on addiction is almost impossible. There's so many different variations of it, and there's so many different people and so many different views. I can only give you my view, but what I do know is if somebody presents with a problem, having an honest look at the problem and having an honest look at the effects and be willing to take the right corrective measures, honestly, whatever the addiction is, you can be free from it.